All right, so we should be. I love the message on Skype too. Avoid legal snags. Hey man, is it okay if we record you for this episode that we're recording?
It's the Russians. They're gonna come for you.
So I sent him the link, and it came through as a Russian link. Like he opened it up, and all the text.
Oh, that's not suspect at all.
No, not at all.
Hey, stranger reaching out. By the way, ignore the Russian.
I was like, you can trust me.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, so Paul, you want to count it in?
The usual. We do the official TV countdown and nothing else. So it's the old starting in 5, 4.
Welcome back to the BurlyFishing podcast. I am Jeff Burlingame. I'm here with Paul Glass, and we have a very special guest on this episode today, Justin Clark, JC Dropshot. What's up, Justin?
Not much, guys. How you doing?
Doing good. We're going to get to the meat and potatoes of the show in a little bit here, but real quick, guys, if you like the content, if you like the podcast, feel free to subscribe, drop us a 5-star review. If you want to continue listening, drop us a comment. Give us some feedback. Help us improve the show. Any ideas, answers, questions, stuff that we talk about on the episode, throw it in there. And you can always email us at info@burlyfishing.com. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube, Burly Fishing. And yeah, let's get after this beast. Oh, last thing, we have a little giveaway going on. If you guys want to win $100 in monster bass tackle, check out the YouTube channel or Instagram, and you can enter following a link there. And all you got to do is really just follow us. What, Paul? Everywhere? Everywhere. And enter as many times as you want. The more you enter, the more likely you are to win. So thank you to Monster Bass for sponsoring that giveaway. And thank you to Monster Bass for introducing me to JC Dropshot. So let's get right to it, JC. We're going to start out with a little episode question. Paul's going to kick us off with this, and we want your feedback on this. This will be the first time. This is going to be awesome because normally it's just me and Paul debating, and somehow we've not aligned like at all on any episode. Uh-oh. So you're going to help us out here. This is going to be awesome. So it'd be a good way to like kick things off. But yeah, matchup today, Paul, what is it?
For no one that's listened to this before or heard this before, we're doing a little, we did not get March Madness this year. Very unfortunate. So what we've done is we've created a little bracket and we've ranked critical fishing items, 1 through, I think we got like 16. And what we're doing is, here's the concept that you're pitting each of these items against each other. You're in a boat, you're in a kayak, it's at max capacity. You can only take one of these 2 items and you have to select one. So this week we've got number 9 water bottle against number 11 snacks. Any snack that you take with you, that could be peanut butter and jelly, that could be bag of Cheetos, Flamin' Hot only, no other options.
Obviously, there's no other flavor.
whatever it is that you bring with yourself, you got that item, or you get the water bottle.
Is it supposed to rain the day we're gonna do this?
Have you ever fished and has it ever not rained? So there's your answer. Absolutely. Guaranteed.
This is Michigan, bro.
It snows, it rains, it hails all in the same hour, right?
Doesn't matter if it's April.
Exactly.
I'm going to lean towards water because I'm a fat kid. I don't leave home without eating.
That's such a good workaround right there. Like, I'm already fed, man. I don't need those snacks.
Just need to stay hydrated.
Yeah. All right, Jeff.
I'm on board with that. 100% water. It's like I'll go over like last couple trips I went out. I had both. I didn't eat the snacks at all. They were still there when I got back, and I drank all the water. So water all day. Stay hydrated.
All right. I'm going water bottle, but it's a lot. I did the rankings just so everyone knows. So the reason it's number 9 versus number 11 snacks is because I get hangry. I'm not a fun person to be around if I've not been properly fed.
I don't get hangry while fishing. That's the only time I don't. So
Jeff has commanded me to eat a live fish because I've been so hangry. So it's gotten that bad.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the tougher one. This one I thought was going to be easier, but then after looking at it, I'm like, I may have messed up these rankings. So the next one is number 3. So 3rd ranked nippers, which I already know isn't too high of a ranking. Versus number 13, Crocs.
Crocs will never make it in my boat, so there you go, nippers.
All right, or I'll do it, or sandals for you ignorant people who do not understand how good the outdoor slippers really are.
No, they're good. They're good, but here's the thing. I love my Merrell sandals because they have an arch.
Oh, good point.
And I have crazy flat feet, so that helps out the back and the hips and everything. So
that's the only plausible excuse.
There you go. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm actually going Crocs. I'm not waiting for Jeff. As much as I love my nippers, and I know I'm more of a fly guy, and I do love my nippers, I'm going Crocs.
Yeah, I'm gonna be Crocs too. I'll find another way to cut the line. I don't care. Crocs are a necessity.
My pliers always have cutters on them, so
I always have pliers.
There you
go. Last week I got hammered on the pliers. Now I already heard that you probably would go bug spray, V pliers. No, I'm going. That's a multi-tool to me. That's so many things. I'm going pliers. I don't even care.
Yeah, but if you ever travel to Southwest Michigan in the middle of spring, you know why I say bug spray.
Dude, absolutely.
That is besides that in the Rifle River area, those are the worst places I've been in Michigan for bugs. The UP gets bad, but those two are bar none the worst for mosquitoes. Black flies, UP's got it.
Oh, dude, the worst is when you're in like the northern half, and it's the deer flies.
Yeah, they follow your boat at 50 miles an hour somehow and instantly hit you when you stop.
It's like, oh, you could be wearing like a hat and like 2 shirts on your head, and they will find the like millimeter of exposed skin on your head, and it's unbelievable. They're unbelievable, and no bug spray is really gonna do it.
They're
not deer fly now.
No. All right, so that was it for weekly matchup. The normal weekly check-in, what we typically do is we go through what we've done throughout the week, whether it's hunting, fishing, whether it's the wintertime and you're ice fishing or getting prepped or whatever. But this week we're going to do something a little different. Really wanted to call out that Michigan recently underwent some changes in their shelter-in-place rules. Really, they were increases in restrictions. One of the biggest ones restricted all motorized boating, whether it's you and your household, whether it's you by yourself. That was the biggest change that I think affected people who are trying to get out of doors, whether you're getting stir crazy or whether it's part of the obviously the work that you do.
I've even read that it affects the kayaks with the electric motors.
Oh yeah, anything with electric motor for sure.
Yeah, which is stupid.
One person, you can't.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put 4 people in my kayak and like just really piss everybody off.
Well, if you ever go on any of the Great Lakes, how many sailboats have outboards on them?
And that was the other thing is like sailing is excluded from the for the listeners who are maybe out of state or not.
Boats and hose. We can go do some sailing.
I did watch your latest Off the Dock when you were talking with Zona, which obviously an influential person in the state, and outside of the state as well, right? Fishing in general,
across the board.
Yeah, really cool, really good to see the perspective of somebody who. It was nice to see the initial reaction, which I think a lot of people's initial reaction was like what the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, he's still pretty hot about it, but
sure.
He knows it's not going to solve the problem being all pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't help everybody just get angry and be spiteful, when you're trying to make a point to somebody that's dug in. So it's not going to work.
No, and I mean, to play both sides, right? Just like playing the side of snacks versus water bottle here, right? Like, it's a difficult job you're trying to do. You're trying to protect people in your state. You're trying to protect people in general, right? And that is part of it now. But it's very easy to make a knee-jerk decision and maybe not think about some of the nuance that's involved there, right?
Yeah, and I think some of the disconnect is her lack of knowledge of how certain things happen or pursued. They don't necessarily. The person advising doesn't even know how a single person launches a boat by themselves and puts back on a trailer with literally not touching the dock except for their feet.
Yep.
There's a lot of assumptions when you're not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you go to Harley Ensign on a Memorial Day weekend and you see the
Oh.
worst of taking a boat on and off of a trailer. That is not how it is when it's cold. It's usually
Yeah.
the best of the best out there fishing.
No,
So.
yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. And you know, recognizing that there's two sides of it, you're kind of taking away, especially we're coming up into spring, right? You're taking away what is essentially some of the better fishing that's out there, at a time when people do really want and need to be out there. And then there's still a lot of small businesses that are really trying to make it work, right? There's a lot of guys out there who are operating shops who are trying to do pickup. I know a lot of the fly shops by me. They're all like Schultz's and some of those, the local shops near me. Yeah, dude, they're all trying to run those shops, and they're all trying to keep people connected, and they're doing the live fly time videos and all that kind of stuff. And you're taking a big chunk of that away. You really are. So
yeah, if you think about the Metro Detroit area,
mm-hmm.
there's a good 10 or 20 shops that they make all of their money for the entire year between April 1st, March 15th-ish roughly, to basically May 30th.
Yep.
And then if they don't have that, they have nothing really for the whole year. And it's just, it's sad to see happen, but at the same time, it had to happen. So with what's going on.
To some degree.
It's a tough spot.
Right? To some degree.
Yeah. I mean, it affects my day job beyond belief.
well, because do you want to talk a little bit about where your day job is?
Yeah, I'm a sales rep for a distributor out of Wisconsin, and I'm one of 3 guys in Michigan, but our one guy is purely UP. The other guy kind of has a little bit of the Southeast Michigan, and that's it. But I have the rest of the state. So I do
a lot of driving.
Oh yeah,
it's a hefty bit of driving. That's a big state.
It's an oil change a month. Let's put it that way, and that's at 5,000 miles.
Jeez.
So
wow.
Hence why I sleep in the back of my truck. We'll get to that later. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, just it's hurting me. And if you just times that by 100 or even 150, I mean, that's how it's affecting just my customer base. And there's so many businesses that are attached to bait and tackle stores. When you think about gas stations that are in, areas that are highly touristized, Lake St. Clair with the hotels and the motels and the Airbnbs that literally make their living off of St. Clair being a phenomenal fishery, or Traverse Bay being a phenomenal fishery that people are willing to travel to.
Erie, you name it.
Yeah, it's a ton of money. I think one year they did some math for just the month of June on Lake St. Clair. They figured it brought in close to $20 million just the fishing.
Yep.
To the surrounding businesses, restaurants, gas stations, all that stuff. So it's amazing.
And you hear it too when they talk about invasive species, right? Every time that pops up, every time they talk about the electric dams and all that other, you hear about how important fishing is the state of Michigan, right? And outdoor in general, but fishing specifically because of what the Great Lakes obviously is a super unique. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to blow the whole episode on it. I know that you've got some awesome content on it, and it's something that is important because we can't really have a discussion about what you did this week, right? And not only that, fishing industry is not the only one that's getting hurt, right? If you own a restaurant, you're taking a bath, in and among other businesses out there too. So yeah, it sucks. It's rough.
I still got a handful of customers that are able to stay open because they're 50% liquor store, party store, or mostly a hardware store, where they're in the middle of BFE and they have a 12-foot aisle fishing tackle that just turns. And they got a hardware store. Well, they're the only game in town. They got to stay open. So
just like my spot.
It's good for them, but unfortunately, 90% of the stores are closed.
Yeah, no doubt.
And if you don't have an online presence or ability to buy online and do curb pickup or ship, there is no chance to make even a little bit right now.
Yep. Without a doubt. And you're already running tight.
Yeah. I mean, the margins are not great in the fishing industry. Everybody thinks they make tons of money. They really don't. I mean, most retail entities, doesn't matter what industry it is, you're aiming for a 30% margin on everything as a whole, and you're only going to keep, if you do everything perfect, 6 to 8% of that will go in your pocket after all expenses, and that's if you do it perfect, and that never happens. It's retail. There's shrinkage, there's shoplifting. Stuff breaks, and it's impossible
There's
Doable.
losses, there's expenses. I mean, running retail is like running any other small to medium sized business. Even if you're running one of the big businesses, you still have to be the lowest price, or else you're losing to Walmart. So it's not it is not an easy business to be in, and this obviously makes it impossible. So
Yep. Well, hopefully our representatives get their head out of there, you know what's, and get that small business funding picked back up a little bit. I mean,
without a doubt,
it's not going to pay their invoices, but it's going to pay their people. It's going to pay their rent. It's going to pay their mortgage. It's going to pay their utility bills. So they're just behind on their product, not off everything else.
That's exactly right. But it lets you stay in business. It lets you keep your people, keeps the lights on for folks, and keeps you fed. And that, at the end of the day, that's if that's what can be done, that's what needs to happen.
Yep.
Cool. All right. That's what we did this week. We lamented.
Today I've been getting myself high on spray painting plastic dip. So
yes. Talk about the truck, man.
Crucial.
I got tired looking at that cheap brush chrome grill, and I'm like, I'm gonna black this out or color match it. And I went with color matching it just like I did my rod tubes on my truck. So
that's awesome, man. Well, and you got some staying power with that too, right? It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, if I do it right, it doesn't come off easy. So I do
all right, so let's get into the meat of the show. I like to call this the show meat because it makes me giggle every time I see it in all caps. I was gonna start with how
you guys gotta have a graphic pops up says show me.
Show me. Oh, yep. Now we do.
Well,
now we do.
Just a big old T-bone going across the screen or something. Or
Yeah,
like
you don't get
or kind of like Pat in a roast on the table
with no sizzle, and all I want to hear is
just like salt smacking it,
All right. I want to take the microphone down to the freezer, and we'll get some meat out. We'll make it happen.
Send me the audio. I do all the editing. I'll take it.
All right. So normally I would start with how did you get into fishing, but actually what I care about more at this point is how did you get the I'm assuming it's a nickname. It's not your official name, JC Drop Shot.
I had a nickname that I use on the forums. It's Raisin Rat, but unfortunately, I was looking at the whole YouTube social media thing as a whole and going, well, there's only 2 Raisin Rivers that I know of. One's in Ontario, one's here in Michigan.
Yeah.
Doesn't really convey what the channel is, because why is Raisin Rat? Unless you know those and you know like a river rat thing, you're not going to get the nickname. So I started this process of trying to change it, and I just figured to use my initials, and I got known for drop shotting panfish on Lake St. Clair, and I was like, you know what? Let's go with this. And I did a quick Google search. Nobody owned it. No one was using it at the time. Now I got 3 people using that nickname finally.
Shut up.
Yeah.
That just means you're doing good.
Well, someone named a rod that, which I don't get.
What?
Yeah, there's a fishing rod. I'm like, I sent the company a joking email, say, hey, can I have my royalties?
They're like, checks can go to.
Yeah, but it was actually for one of their pro staffers that happen to have the same initial, so it was kind of funny. And then there was some guy on Instagram, but has been like 0 activity. So I'm pretty sure it was somebody started something to mess with something, and then it didn't work out, and they just kind of can't,
just gave up.
Yeah,
I love it.
Gave up. So it is what it is, but it sticks out well. I guess I named it right because Zona's like, I need a name like that last night. So
yeah, that was awesome.
You're not
doing bad. Like, really, I did well then. All right.
It's interesting. Right, so it's interesting that like a drop shot.
No, all right. So on the chat though, I just saw. I don't know if he said this. Maybe I missed it, but people in the chat were like, the Zona virus.
Oh, I saw that. No, somebody.
I was like, what is that?
I think that because there was 4 or 5 messages from that person that never made it onto the stream.
Yeah.
That YouTube flagged. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Why?
Yeah. And that was the only one that made it through out of his 6 comments. The other ones were not pleasant. I don't think he was a fan of Zona.
Oh, cool. Well,
apparently.
I'll cut that part out.
Nah, don't worry about it. He won't care.
I just remember seeing it. I was like, what the heck? All right.
Yeah, that was interesting. There was a lot of people on that stream. I have never had that. I tried to watch it and listen to him at the same time and do what I need to do on my end. You guys know how that is. And I totally said, screw the chat. I'm done. I'll come back. If it's a super chat, fine. I'll throw it on the screen. No one took advantage of it, so that was awesome. So I was throwing up a couple things that I caught my eye long enough. It sat long enough I could see it. From people, names that I recognize mainly. Guys that are always on my live streams, are always in my comment section. I noticed some of them and highlighted a couple that I thought were funny. In fact, there was like 4 or 5 people that thought we were brothers. Which I'm like,
the beard.
I'm like, I'm okay with that.
That's all right. I can handle that.
I because me and my brother do not look anything alike. So he's like 6'2", 145 pounds, and rides a cycle. He mountain bikes and cyclocrosses. Now, I used to be a low lighter. I used to mountain bike too, but I also did the crazy stupid stuff, free riding downhill, and that's how I broke my back. That's a story in itself.
So is it a long story, or can we throw that story in now?
Do you want me to make it long or short?
I feel like I know the short part.
I went downhill. I fell. I broke.
It was the end off of a man-made skinny. It went to a transition, a gap, to a skinny, and then onto a drop. And I overshot the skinny and said, "Screw it! I'm gonna try to save it." And front wheel hit the back of the transition and just straight up pivot momentum head first into the ground. No helmet on, which was probably why I didn't snap my neck, believe it or not. And I tuck and rolled, broke my sternum, and I fractured 3 vertebrae, shattered my T11, fractured my 9 and 10 as well. So, yeah. But then the hospital totally misdiagnosed a broken back, sent me home with just a broken sternum. 2 weeks later, go back to work going, oh, crap, something's wrong because I can't take Vicodin while driving a company car. Yeah, I called my doctor, and he's like, yeah, go get an MRI tonight. I literally get the CD. I'm going, holy shit, my back is broken. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, crap.
Don't move.
Because at this point, I'm not fully high like I was the whole 2 weeks before I went to work on Vicodin. He goes, relax. Go into the ER like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't get in a car accident.
He goes, relax.
You're fine. He's like, you made it 2 weeks. You're fine.
He's like, you sneeze, you're paralyzed, but you're fine.
No, I had like the luckiest fractures possible. Everything went into the cavity, not into the spinal cord. So, it was pretty funny. The back doctor at Beaumont, I'm not gonna name the hospital I originally went to because I don't want to get libel, because I'm not happy with them at all. He came in after saving somebody's life from a car accident. He's supposed to be down hours beforehand. He came in. He goes, look, a 5-year-old could have seen this even on a freaking CAT scan. So I don't know how they missed it. Because the night I was in the ER.
Shots fired.
Yeah. So the night I was in the ER, I couldn't even get off the gurney. So they slid me into a CAT scan instead of an MRI or an X-ray. And you could see the fractures on a CAT scan, which is really hard to see.
Yeah.
See bone breaks on a CAT scan.
Wow.
Yeah. And I wish I would have got the nurse's number that I really embarrassed in the ER when I was high on Dilaudid, but that's another story altogether. That's for like beer drinking night.
Why exactly do you want her number then?
Well, I don't now because I'm married. Back then I wanted
Moving on.
I'm trying to help. All right,
but yeah,
so
it was a life-changing event. It was honestly the best thing that ever happened to me.
Wow. How's that?
It reset my life. Like my goals were where my focus was. And believe it or not, what I'm doing now while I'm on the road working was my goal before my dad said, no, you're moving back home. I was going to live in the back of my Ford Ranger at the time because I was just getting tired of rent and medical bills. I'm like, screw this. I'm going to become a trout bum, go guide for salmon, steelhead, and trout on the west side, live in the back of my truck. I'll figure it out. I can fish anything. Just give me a week and I can figure out every species out, Yeah. And yeah, my mom and dad were like, no, you're coming back home. You're going to pay off your bills. You're going to do this right. And then I ran into my now wife.
Oh, double crucial. Well done.
So, and she's been a huge help and influence and motivation to do what I'm doing now in the direction I'm in now. So.
Nice.
Best thing that ever happened in my life, breaking my back. Figure that one out.
But you can't wear Crocs. You can't wear Crocs, so it's like you.
But now
really
you can't
are,
wear Crocs.
Like,
No, I had problems with my feet long before that, man. That was childhood. Yeah.
Just trying to bring into some perspective.
Well, Crocs to me just scream dad, because you got to wear socks with them because they rub kind of funky.
What if you're a dad?
What if we're dads?
Do you want to be that dad with socks and sandals or socks and Crocs? I'm just
socks
saying.
and Crocs, bro. Socks and Crocs.
Dude, outside slippers.
This podcast was almost
outside slippers. Now they are light. I've owned. They are light. They're nice for that, but for standing long term, no.
Nice. Severe down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, what was the podcast almost called, Paul? Two dads.
Two dads. But then I was like, that can't work.
It won't.
Two dads in a kayak or two dads in a rod.
Two dads. Two rods. One rod.
And then with the show meat coming in hot, this is not a good look. All right. So back to the show meat. So, all right. So we know you're a big Lake St. Clair guy.
Yep.
Which by definition also means you either only fish smallmouth or you're a multi-species guy.
I'm a multi-species guy, but I'm also a Lake St. Clair transplant. I grew up on Lake Erie.
Oh, so that makes more sense.
Doing the yellow perch and the walleye deal. Dad had a boat. Yeah, it was a lot of time on Lake Erie. I'll be honest. I like catching walleye, but I'm not going on my way to go do it anymore. I hate trolling with a passion. That's why I don't like big water salmon fishing. I don't like trolling. Now, if I was to have a pedal drive or a electric motor kayak going after salmon, I think I could get into that, because a 30-pound king could flip a kayak in the wrong position.
Dude, so I have
so dope.
We have a cottage on Lake St. Clair. We're on the Canadian side, Stony Point. And so we're right on the water, and so I take my kayak up there all the time, and we're right on a shelf where it goes from like 11 to 14, so it's an awesome walleye spot. And then, dude, there will be 100 boats out there when it's when the wind's coming in and there's no sunlight. So we were out there on one of those days, and in my kayak, it's a paddle, not a pedal even. And I'm trolling, so I'm hustling. I'm trying to keep it at 2.6 miles an hour on the speedometer. And I hook into a fish, and I just assume it's a walleye. It was not a walleye. It was a muskie. First one I caught off the kayak. Dude, I was like, I'm looking when I set, I was like, I'm looking around like, I really hope I don't run into someone else's lines, because I'm going for a ride.
Yeah, that area has a lot of walleye and a lot of muskie. And when the smallmouth are there, the catfish are there too. Go figure that one out. When smallmouth are in that area you're talking about, the channel cats show up at the same time. I don't know why, but it does.
Memorial Day, it's like you can't keep cats off a drop shot.
Yep.
You can't, and it's awesome because
they're not little.
No.
Big boys. They're big boys.
You're lucky to get an eater, because it's like I'm waiting to get like a 14-incher, because I'm like, I want to eat one of these.
You want it to have spots, and you can't get one with spots.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I'll say about Lake St. Clair, and this is probably something I know you're in tune with, is the water depth has been so high for the last 6 years. We're coming up on 7 probably of being too high.
Well, probably the last 2 to 3 years has been high. About 6-7 years ago it was low, and then about 4 or 5 it bottomed out. So it came up crazy fast. But I heard something from the Corps of Engineer over the winter. This was December or January, that Lake St. Clair was 21 inches higher than it was the year before, and that's winter pool.
Holy shit.
So right now, Harley's already flooded twice this year that I know of.
Yep.
Because it was nice enough that people were going in and out of their lot. It probably flooded this week with the wind we've had.
Last week, absolutely.
It takes a south wind or an east wind, and it floods Harley. There's so many canals. Even before the COVID stuff, there's so many businesses that may not be able to open this year on the Great Lakes because of the high water. Marinas, gas pumps. There's bait shops that are being flooded not because the water's coming into the parking lot, but it's literally coming up the drains.
Mm-hmm.
Because
it's higher than the watermark.
Yeah, so there was one store. What town is that? Montague, White Lake. It's they're like two towns on White Lake, and they share like a little area there. And one of them literally has a floor drain that is for when it floods or whatever. It's just like your basement deal. And there's water in there, and you can see the wave action
Oh my God.
in the drain from the
Holy.
lake. And I was like, so what's going on for next year? He goes, I canceled all my orders for spring.
Oh,
Jeez.
no.
He goes, it's probably better off for me and cheaper just to close the doors.
Yeah.
He goes, it'll cost me $500,000 to make this store usable. And I just put a bunch of money into it and redid it. Why am I going to do this again? I'll take the hit, close, go find a job for $30,000 a year and call it good.
Yeah.
And we'll reopen when it comes back down. That's the reality. I mean,
Well, Lakeshore,
sucks.
Lakeshore, Ontario. We're on the Canadian side, so Lakeshore, Ontario. They're literally handing out the city's handing out sandbags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have a seawall, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, all of the townships over here, Clay Township and New Baltimore City, they all have sandbags. Harrison Township already has. In Harrison Township, there's an old firehouse that's not used anymore because they built a really big one around the corner. But they've been dumping sand there. We're talking 2-ton truckloads, 3-4 at a time, and people just pull up,
Trailer
bags up, and take it back to their house. And I was out in like December 10th or something in my boat on a warm day we had, and I was looking for some panfish, and I saw a guy taking and dumping his sandbags into the lake. I was like, "Why are you doing that?" He goes, "I'm not gonna need them next year." I said, "Dude, we're 21 inches above last year's pool right now." It didn't go down over the fall. Yeah, it did. I was like, dude, we're looking at a foot to 18 inches more water. I would keep those and then add to it. You have all winter and spring to get prepped for the summer high in June and July. Like, you could make this an epic wall and you're not going to have issues.
It's insane.
And he's just like, nah, I'm going to dump them all out. Well, I went back by that house this spring. Needless to say, he is in panic mode right now.
Oh my God.
He's already flooded once.
Well, and it's crazy because, where at least in the area where we are, we've got what has become a sandbar. And it used to be a ton of like scattered, patchy, really nice growth that you get all year. And then it would go into like a huge, you'd get some of the rolling that you get on St. Clair right at the bottom where, it seems like it's staying flat, and all of a sudden you get these rolls, and that's where you're looking for fish.
Yep.
And
troughs.
Exactly. And right now though, it's like all sandbar, which is nice if you've got, kids out there and they're trying to play around. They can't touch the bottom anyways. And so it's like, it has definitely changed the way we fish, especially out there if you're fishing from the bank, because we know everyone all along all the neighbors and stuff, in the area. And so we'll just go and we'll fish all the different, parts of the break wall, and we know where the train tracks are and all the big rocks and all that. And it's totally changed. It's not, there's nothing there, but you can't, it's not like it used to be. It's crazy.
Well, I was down on mile roads just 10 days ago when I could use my boat. And I had waypoints that were, when I placed them, according to the data, 6 feet of water. It's 10 right now.
It's
and I'm like, well, this one's not going to work. Let's drive in and see if I can find something similar.
That's with no wind.
Yeah.
You get a wind in your face and it's over, man. Because that lake tilts. Because of the size that it is, and because the way it gets fed from both sides, that lake tilts, man.
Well, that lake too is so unique in that, when you look at like a bass lake when it heats up in the spring, where do you have to go? The north end of the lake, right?
Yeah.
St. Clair, totally ass backwards. Unless you're on the Canadian side. The Canadian side, the north warms up pretty quick. But you guys can't fish bass on the Canadian side, so no one knows this. But on the U.S. side, the mile roads will literally be 5 to 6 degrees warmer than Anchor Bay, and that's because of how much flow from the Huron River or St. Clair River and Lake Huron. The St. Clair River flows extremely fast. It actually flows faster than the Detroit River by about 2 or 3 knots. Yeah, it's fast. The St. Clair River, you can drift at 1.5 miles an hour and you're good to go.
Yeah,
that's why the raft off is a thing. It takes half a day to go half the river by drifting. So it's pretty fast river. But yeah.
So let me ask you this. So I was watching, you just did a video, I think, maybe I was watching an older one. You did a top, not tactics for spring, but you did like top baits for spring.
Yeah, that would have been my top 5, and I got so much hate mail on that. That was hilarious.
Really?
How?
Because I
Why?
said early spring, and they assumed it was late April, May spring, and I'm like, no, early spring, guys. You know, late
What?
March, early. You know that 2 to
Cold
4
water.
weeks we sometimes get. You know,
Yeah,
like,
non-existent
why didn't
now.
you put this on there? Why didn't you put that on there? I'm like, because it's early spring, not late spring. But okay.
That's why it's so hard to like do a top 5 or any baits, just because like, okay, where do you live? What are your seasons? What are the spawning seasons? Like, what's the temperature of the water?
Well,
It's
that's why.
Michigan. It's sleeting and snowing in April, mid-April. Like,
Yep.
we can't win. You can't win that stuff.
And everybody thinks they know more than you, but it's like, dude, if that's what works for you, you know, this is what works for me. I'm just giving my top 5. It's not your top 5. You know, it's not the
It's also
be all end all top 5 because only 5 things you can use. You know,
right. Exactly. It's like, it's not really for that person that's complaining, because that person's like, I already know what I'm gonna use. Cool. Like, it's for the person that's like, what do I even do? Yeah, like, I know you probably get messages from people all the time. Like, I'm a smaller channel than you, and I get messages, but people just say like, what do I even do? Like, it's cold, I throw everything I think I have, and no fish bite. What do I do? And I'm like, okay, give me like some specifics. I'll give you some ideas, but that's the whole point of those videos. It's the people that don't know what to do. They have no idea. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. Like, it's frustrating, but
I'm trying to retool what I do on the channel a little bit with the new job, and just kind of, I'll be honest, I'm tired of doing a fishing report for Lake St. Clair every week. I'm tired of it, because here's the reason why. It stays in the same rhythm every year for the most part. The lures will change slightly, the colors will change slightly depending on how much rain or, you know, how much wind and turbidity's in the water. But the locations are primarily the same every year. I can go not be out there for a month and know where to start at this point, where I'm going to start my search. Unless something stupid crazy, you know, it's a super cold year or a super warm year, it might push and slow it down and whatever.
Winter goes until May, like last year.
Yeah,
or this year.
As much as I enjoy helping people catch fish, because I truly do, but it almost feels like if I do them every week and I haven't spent time in the lake, I'm being very disingenuous, even though I know that's exactly what's going on. You know, it's like, yeah, I know this is what's going on, but I haven't been out there to see it firsthand, so do I really want to say it? You know, because there might be a little tidbit that helped me that I could share with somebody, and it makes their day. So I've kind of rolled back the whole fishing report thing, and I'm like any YouTuber, you're trying to figure out what your voice is, what people like you for, and that's a really hard thing to do, because as you grow, it changes. And you'll have something go viral or become popular for whatever stupid reason, and I see this from content creators in general. They go, oh, that's what I need to do. Well, then they fall flat in their face and they don't know why. It was a one-off thing. Yeah, that thing there is to tell you, yeah, this does work occasionally, but do you need to totally switch it? I mean, you're not Mr. Beast where you can give away $100,000 every week and have 2 to 20 million views in a matter of a day. You know, but he didn't get there overnight. I mean, if you look at his early stuff, it was pretty freaking lame, but he found what worked for him and his personality and went with it. You know, and if you look at lunkers and SB fishing, I mean, SB fishing is definitely the outlier of YouTube fishing channels, because he's fishing a homemade tin bass boat.
I love it.
You know, like I think he's at the point now where he probably makes enough off of YouTube and some of the brand deals that he has to probably go and afford a nicer boat. Honestly, he probably could, but why spend the money when you don't need to, for where he fishes in his home state too? You know, they have a ton of lakes where he can go and only use that style boat anyway. So
yeah,
why change?
I think to be fair, I think he just upgraded it to a larger tin boat.
Yeah, he did. I think it's like 2 feet longer and a foot wider, and it was like
same
done
setup.
but the same setup. It was done way better. New motor. But his buddy has his old boat, and you see him side by side. I'm going, yeah, that was homemade. Didn't know what the hell you were doing with like $500 to spend. This is, I had the boat given to me and the motor given to me, and I had $1,000 to spend on prepping it. Big difference in setup. So, but if you're a sponsor, why not sponsor somebody like that? Because we've all been at that level.
Yeah.
Most of us stay at that level
Forever.
Yeah. I did want to stay at that level forever. So I sucked it up for 5 years to get what I got now. And now I'm like, I want a $4,000 kayak, dang it. I'm working. I'm really looking at the old towns right now, the new ones.
The new ones, the Sportsmans?
Yeah.
Those are legit, man.
The autos I'm digging because let's face it, I'm not in the greatest shape. I don't want to be paddling.
You want that Minn Kota, man.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Let's put it here's the worst part about it. If I get the Sportsman 120 auto, that thing has better boat control than my big boat.
Oh yeah.
That's a little painful because I don't have spot lock yet on the big boat.
Oof.
I need to upgrade that. And a tin boat like I got is without the motor, without fuel, and it's $1,350. It blows in the wind pretty easy. It's a nightmare when it's windy to fish sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a kayak?
Yes. Kayaks. Yes. But I will tell you, it's harder. It's harder to stay like. Think about it. If you're in a canal in a 20-foot tin boat versus a 10-foot kayak and you blow into a boat, no big deal in the kayak. Big deal in the 20-foot.
The stakes are higher.
Fair point.
I'm not talking about my equipment. I'm talking about the boat I just hit.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
And the prop was up because I came through some shallow water. So now that prop is in the side of a glass boat. Yeah. Never happened to me, but definitely is something I'm scared of.
Oh.
Just
that's a
possibility.
And in St. Clair, from experience, there are a lot of floating trees in St. Clair.
Especially in the springtime.
Unbelievable how many trees are just. Well, first of all, we take all those trees, we walk out and go get those trees and roll them up on shore, and then we cut them up during the year, and then that's what we use for firewood. Have never bought firewood. That's how many trees are just rolling around.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, especially on the Canadian side because they have more of a natural waterway feeding it, where the U.S. side's very channelized, very rigid walls and break walls.
You don't have this St. Clair Flats plus the CN line runs right over there, and they own a lot of that property, and they don't improve it, so they just did rock break walls, and then you get a lot of trees coming in from there too.
Yep. And not counting Walpole where they just cut stuff and let it lay, and that's a whole other ball wax.
Well, and I mean the ducks love that stuff though.
They do, and if you ever get a chance to go up into the First Nation waterways, you better have Google Maps or you might get lost. Because 16-foot tall Phragmites can get you a little turned, kind of like down in the Everglades. You can lose your bearings pretty quick and then go, okay, what channel did I come into? Because I did. There was 3 when I came in because I came in one and I couldn't see those other 2 as I'm leaving.
No doubt.
So I did find some pretty cool backwater stuff on the Canadian side last summer. Lost my biggest largemouth back there too. And I thought I had the GoPro turned off. So I go, GoPro, start recording. And I hear that double beep. I'm like, no, it was
other thing.
So it has the hook set, but then it turns off.
Oh my God.
Then it's back on and you're like, oh, dude,
and
10-pounder.
I lost that fish inside of the boat. So I'm worried about the fish because it blows up 10 feet off the bow. And I'm like, screw it. I'll just take a picture of it. Check this out. And I'll explain whatever. Nope, lost it. Damn. And it was largemouth. It was a 7-pounder, dude. It was giant. It was a giant.
That's a 15-pounder for you Southerners. 15-pounder. 7 pounds up here doesn't happen. That's not a thing.
No, it's rare. I mean, I've seen a handful of 6s at the end of my line. I've caught 1 7-pound smallmouth in my life. It was 7-pound too. Wow. Fall fish, not a spring fish. I would have loved to have found that girl full of eggs. Just saying. Should have been 2.5 pounds heavier. That's all I'm gonna say. It was like a late September. But my most epic largemouth catch happened on Lake Erie growing up as a teenager before even flip phones had cameras.
Ooh.
We're talking
Ooh.
110 and 35 mil was if we had a camera with us, or one of those instant shot or quick shot Kodaks or whatever.
The underwater.
Wind.
Yes, just wind into it, clicks and stops, and you might have a flash that works. Yeah.
It's called a Kodak Fun Saver.
But it just looked like a finger painting, though.
I couldn't afford a Kodak, so I always bought the Fuji instant cameras.
Hell yes, all day.
Oh, brutal.
It had that
All
weird
day.
texture to the print all the time. For some reason, those cameras always had that like weird textured print. It was never glossy, satin, whatever. For some reason, that camera always did. You get a Kodak, it's always glossy. I don't get it. Same place processing it. I must use different paper. I don't know.
1 megapixel.
But we were fishing a creek off of Lake Erie in Monroe County. That's all I'm gonna say. I might go back there because the water still might be cold enough. This might work. And we snuck into a marina we weren't supposed to be into. I don't condone that, but I was a teenager once. And we were pitching to the dock pilings, and I caught a 6'4", a 6'10", and a 7. What was it? 7'4", I believe, according to our scale at the time. It was a Stren scale. I don't know if it's accurate or not. All off the same dock. My buddy caught a giant 2 off that dock.
Wow.
And then we never caught another fish in that area the rest of the year.
Doesn't matter.
Did not matter one bit.
That's like
amazing.
when you shoot the 10-pointer and like you're that spot's done.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm done. I'm leaving.
Well, the best story to go along with this is there was a marina my brother was a boat cleaner in, so we're allowed to go into it. And it's a really nice marina on Lake Erie. I'm talking like that's where the rich people go. Yeah. The Princess Rose used to be docked inside there. And the Princess Rose is now docked in Detroit River. It's a freaking 120, 130 foot, maybe bigger yacht. It's gorgeous, full-time crew. Yeah. It was docked in this marina. I don't know how it got in there, but it gets in there. But we were walking the wall fishing 4-inch bass tubes for crappie. And we got stopped by a CO. That CO did not believe a word we said. Keep in mind, we're 16 years old. Okay, we don't need a fishing license yet. He goes, "Where's your license?" We're 16. Yeah, I don't believe you. Because my one friend, like, a little bit of scruff going. Took him until his 30s to finally grow a beard, which is hilarious. But he had scruff.
Scruff for 15
nicely
years.
cultivated.
Yes, it took 30 years to get there, but he finally got it. I'm proud of him. But so he's talking to me at first. My buddy's like 10 docks down, and he's watching this, and he goes, "I don't believe you." I said, "How can I prove to you that we're crappie fishing?" He goes, "Catch a crappie or show me your crappie." I said, "Let's go to the back of my truck." We had 4 crappies, not lying, in a 5-gallon bucket, nose down, and they were touching. They were 12 inches tall.
Oh my god!
And he goes, "Were you guys catching bass?" "Yeah." "Any big ones?" "Yep." "Did you let them go?" "Yep." "See any bass boats in here?" "Yep." And he goes, "I still don't think you guys caught those in here. I think you got them from a quarry pond that's down the street that he knows has big crappie, but we don't have access to it. But he thought we did."
You're immediately like, "Big quarry down."
Where is this at again?
Geolocation, please. This thing I'm gonna get in there, right? But I'm not kidding you. I look up. He goes, "Hey, I got another one." My buddy down, like literally like 100 yards away, pulls up this big old white fish. He goes, "That looks like a white bass or a largemouth." I'm like, "No, I'm pretty sure that's a white crappie." And I'm 100 yards away. I'm pretty sure it's a white crappie. He's like, "Come on!" He's like screaming at him to come down in there. He goes, "Leave the lure in his mouth." I'm like, he's not going to untie it while holding the fish in a rod and then retie coming to the truck, dude. Whatever. But yeah, it was a giant crappie. Those pictures resided on the wall in Matthew's Bait and Tackle until new owners came in and tossed all pictures in the garbage, and I lost them.
No.
Number was on the back of the damn thing.
Oh
wow.
And the shop owner said, "Hey, we're looking at selling. If you want, put your name and number on the back of the pictures. If you want them, we'll make sure they get them to you." No, the dude just rips everything off the walls and guts it. Didn't even call anybody for pictures. I had a 40-inch carp I caught on a daredevil on that wall in there that they took a picture of, and I forget what the weight was, but it was a 40-inch common carp caught on a 5 of diamond. Daredevil while we're waiting for our boat to get put in from rack and launch before going perch fishing in the morning. So I had a 5-foot ultra, like throwing a 1/2-ounce Daredevil, just slow rolling across the bottom, going, "Ooh, it's full. The pike might be in here, dude."
Yeah.
It's a freaking 40-inch carp.
Dude, that's a freaking carp that thought it was a pike.
Carp, actually, hindsight now, carp eat a lot of minnows. I didn't know that until I got to learn how to carp fish from some guys that do the European stuff. And I learned a lot about carp and got a little more respect for them now after doing it. Quite honestly.
So much fun. Well, another thing about, especially like Europeans, like they make carp rods. Like that's what they do. And they make fly rods for carp because they're really fun to catch.
Yeah. And learning the European tackle versus US is a whole different ball of wax. You know, the pound curve thing is pretty cool once you understand it. But when you can chuck a 1-pound ball of bait or chum 100 feet plus without even trying, you really try, you're throwing 200 to 300 feet, you know, a whole football field. That's pretty freaking awesome.
That's stupid. That is stupid. All right, so let me ask you this. This is something I'm going to ask everyone too. Are you a 100% keep guy, or are you a release guy, or are you a 50-50 or somewhere in between?
Very easy answer. 99% release.
Oh, because let me ask you this: is it because of how much bass fishing you do?
No, has nothing to do with that.
Oh, so all the perch, all the crappie, all the bluegill, and you just let them go.
When I keep them, I'll go to my dad.
Can I ask why?
I don't eat fish.
Period.
Period. I used to.
Wow.
Whoa.
Interesting
hot
story.
take.
Interesting story.
Tell me more, because I'm confused.
You know, when you're a kid, you eat how your parents eat, right? So you'd go have a perch or a walleye dinner. You know, when you go out to eat, mom, dad, you know what? You can get fish tonight too. Because face it, fish is still expensive even back in the 80s. Okay.
Oh yeah.
When you go out to eat, so you get lemon, you put it on, you got tartar sauce, all that, and you got the potatoes, and you're going to town. Every time I got home after eating fish, I was sick. My face would swell up and everything. So this went on for I don't know how long. Our mom and dad might know that side of it better. I just remember being so sick, my face so swollen and so miserable. Like if I have ever had the adult thought of just kill me now, that would have like seriously, just I vividly remember being ill from this allergic reaction that I was having.
Ooh.
Okay, but it is not from the fish. I can eat fish, doesn't affect me one bit. It was the lemons I was putting on the fish.
What?
Yeah.
The twist. I'm like watching Tiger King. Wow.
Tiger King episode 4 just got more serious.
So, and here's
go to jail for giving you that much lemon.
Here's the worst part is, I like lemons. I like lemonade. I can't have it.
Oof.
But this is what I can have. Tangerines, oranges, limes, anything else citrus I can have, but lemon.
Wow.
What?
Talk about something odd.
That is brutal.
And here's the worst part about it. If I eat a lemon Starburst or a lemon Skittles, I get a headache still to this day.
What?
Just I don't know if it's psychoschematic or is there something. Did I say schematic?
Psychosomatic.
Schematic. I just said schematic.
It's psychoschematic. I know exactly where it is.
Yeah. But, you know, so it got me thinking, is it in my head at this point in my life, which I tested and it definitely was not. But I think there's something in the artificial lemon flavoring that is common in the actual lemons. And that is what triggers the allergic reaction. I'll leave it at that. It's taken me 35 years to come to that conclusion.
And it ruined fish. Oh, that's brutal.
It ruined fish. Now, I do eat like tuna fish every once in a while out of the can. And I do not put mayonnaise on it. Mustard, paprika, black pepper, and garlic powder.
The best right there.
This kid is obsessed with mustard. So
yes. Mayo, ranch, Alfredo sauce. Get it out of here. Worst condiment idea ever. Tartar sauce, worst condiment idea ever.
So yeah. I used to be the exact same way. But I love eggs, and then I found out that mayonnaise is is mostly eggs, and now I like love mayonnaise.
I'm obsessed with mayonnaise.
I cannot eat eggs. It's not
What?
the taste. It's the freaking texture, man. I cannot get past that. Okay. Eggs are softer.
I'm lost.
Eggs are softer than avocado, and they're both disgusting because of texture. I love the taste of avocados.
Look, I'm not here to tell anybody how to party, so I think we're just gonna stop listing foods because I don't want to know anything else that you can't eat because it's just gonna make me mad.
No,
Foods have nothing to do with friendship.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Totally on the list right there.
That's not bad.
Oh my god.
So one thing
eat
that
like 2 dozen eggs a week.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or a day.
Yeah, absolutely. When we go on our like overnight trips, when we're like car camping, the tradition is we grab my big old cast iron pot and you heat that puppy up in the morning and you'll drop in 2 links of homemade kielbasa and a carton of eggs.
All of them.
There you go.
That's how you avoid having to take snacks.
That's a cheap breakfast too, honestly. Eggs are
100%.
69 cents to $1.50 a dozen.
Well, right
unless
now you can't have any.
Unless you're foo gotta have better Eggland's best than $3 a dozen.
Cage free, bro.
More of the Meyer extra large.
Get cage free from my neighbor in the city.
There you go. We're like, what is the bottom shelf of eggs? We'll take all of those.
Single A.
Just go to Aldi's.
Single A.
Just go to Aldi, 69 cents a dozen. You can't tell the difference.
Do not pay for the cart.
I've been told.
Save the time.
Yeah. Or we'll get the 5 dozen box, the crate, if you will, because if you eat enough of them,
stack or what do you want to call it?
Yes. We go to Costco. We're like, give us the pallet. We'll take it all. We're gonna be gone for 2 days. We're gonna need that much.
Oh man. All right. So I would be remiss. We're coming up on our hour-ish. I would be remiss if we did not get a chance to talk about the YouTube channel. I know I have become recently a much bigger fan. I do like the fishing reports, but I'm a nerd. I love the music. The music is legit.
What music?
All the transition music? What do you mean what music? Do I have to like list the song?
Yes.
Well, is it the new intro or is it the old intro or the older intro?
We were talking about the new one. We were talking about the new one before we hopped on. The new one's legit, and we were talking about how Paul needs to buy a drone and let me use it, and we were talking about how.
Yeah, I bit the bullet and paid for a year's subscription to a music service, and that song was on there in full version with lyrics, full version with just the chorus and the instrumental, or just instrumental, and I just use the instrumental for the intro. And the song is sped up 10 or 15% from standard to match what I already had done in video.
Nice.
It just happened to work out perfectly. It was literally a 20-minute, I want to do something different. Sit down and like happen perfect. I'm like, I love the song. Let's see if I make this work and what I got. So it worked out. I dig it.
It's legit.
I got some interesting songs I've yet to use that I want to use that are definitely out there, that are definitely not something you normally see on a fishing channel. We'll see how it goes.
I like it.
But yeah.
I like the music. I like the music choice. I like the transition music because it just feels very one, it feels a little bit more professional. So I like that. Like it feels polished. But then on top of that, while you're watching the transition, like when I'm watching your videos, one of my favorite things about your videos is, especially the ones where you're doing like the exploration up north, because that's something Jeff and I do all the time, is try and hit new water up north because there's so much of it.
Oh yeah.
And dude, watching the transition, it actually feels like I am fishing by myself, or whatever. Like it actually feels like it feels when you're out there, because like that's how your brain like remembers all that stuff. Like you remember like, oh yeah, shit, I gotta get to the other side, and then you're like trying to get to your next spot or whatever. That's how it feels. I love it.
All about the vibe, dude. When I get past the Zwolle Bridge, my blood pressure instantly drops. Okay, and it doesn't fully drop until I get to the hills around Clair. When the hills start up around Clair, then I'm like I'm up north at that point. I'm not UP up north, but I'm up north.
UP up north, you have to take off your shirt and get a 6-pack.
No, I stop and get myself a chocolate shake and a bison burger immediately after crossing the bridge. Hook a left. See, I always come back to food on everything. I'm sorry.
Hot take.
There's a drive-in right after. I think it's called.
Is it after the Whitefish sign or before it?
It's the very first exit. You go underneath 75, and it's right there on the right-hand side. They have one in Sault Ste. Marie as well. Clyde's. I think it's called Clyde's. Everybody knows it. Like, everybody knows it, but doesn't know the name of the place. Yeah. Great shakes, great burgers, great food. It's just kind of my UP tradition. Mm-hmm. Besides disappearing in the woods somewhere.
That's fun. Novel idea. Love it.
No, but the music thing, I have a very eclectic taste in music. And most outdoorsmen want like that rock music, you know. So I'm trying to open up these 40-plussers to like the whole EDM vibe stuff. And it works well with drone footage. Really well with drone footage.
It does. And it's not pushy. Well. It's not pushy.
No, it's just there for backup. It's only there for backup.
I am a fan. Maybe it's because I'm not 40 yet, but I am a fan.
I think the site I'm using is like Artist something or other.
Oh yeah, yep.
Or whatever. There's a bunch of them. The song is "Howlin' at the Moon."
Duh. Obviously.
How were you supposed to scroll past it? They should have just made that the first one.
It is one of the most popular songs on that service.
Probably.
For 2019. It was actually used on a mainstream commercial last year. That was huge. And nobody recognized it because they only use the instrumental. And I only used a certain part. They were using the middle and the end. Mm-hmm. I was using the direct, like, top 18 seconds or 16 seconds or something of it or something like that. Plus, I speed it up so it totally changes how it sounds. So
that's awesome. That was awesome. All right, so I have to ask you one other question about the doing the channel, like the tactical piece of doing it. How much has it detracted from when you're just fishing without like the film and worrying about, you know, catching a couple of good fish for a shot or, you know, blah, 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 blah. How much does that whole process, how much does it detract from like the fun of fishing?
A lot. I'm not going to lie, it does.
It's work. It's work at that point.
It is work, but here's the thing. When you have an idea for a video in your head and you really want to make it happen, what happens is it affects your fishing. You don't make the right decisions on the water because I want to go throw a zoom horny toad and pin reeds, but I got a massive cold front. Screw it, I'm going to do it anyways. And you're going to beat the dead horse, and not catch anything and get frustrated and go, God, I suck at fishing. Why am I doing this? That was all the last 2 years for me. I am not going to lie.
Just slapping water, trying to make a video.
Yep. It was the last 2 years have been extremely frustrating because of the YouTube stuff. Like I was having success, but also frustrated with what was coming out. It wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't doing what I wanted with it. You know, the bad part is you want to watch other content creators make stuff that you enjoy watching. But at the same time, if you start comparing everything you see them doing to what you're doing, you're like, well, why can't I do that? Well, you know, Lunkers and John B., that's all they do full time. I have a family. I have a day job. I might only have 1 day a week to go film maybe 3 videos. Mm-hmm. And I'm editing them while I'm working on the road. So I have to learn to quit being so hard on myself and just put out content. But I'm at the point now where I'd rather put out 1 really good piece a week instead of doing 3 or 5 that are just like, why did I even waste my hour of putting that together? You know,
the battery charge wasn't even worth it because you're frustrated with how it came out.
Yeah,
the 7 GoPro batteries.
And what I've noticed is the ones that I've like sat down and thought, like the video if I do product reviews, I've sat and thought about that product review for a good month before I even shoot it. And probably a few weeks before that because I'm thinking about what product I'm going to buy to review. And some of it is I have some connections so I can get stuff before ICAST, and I got to have it out by a certain time. So I just slap it together and throw it out there. Still one of my best videos, that Corrado DC video. But it was unique. It was unique. I did like straight up gorilla style, just like throw the camera in people's face. What do you think is real? They're like, what? Just talk.
Go.
Don't think, talk. What is this for? Oh, my channel. oh, okay. It's like, you cool? Yeah, I'll be on that.
Are you cool?
You know,
No, I'm pretty rad.
What you do, but I did. But it turned out great, and Shimano themselves actually loved the video, and it did better than all theirs for a long time. Even their paid people. So for a while, they like Tactical and the people they pay, they kind of had to boost them up, and you know. So, but I totally lost my train of thought right there. Oh wow, squirrel.
Well, and I will say, like, even like again, the one thing that I thought was so cool about your videos is how it feels so much like it does like when I go fishing, and it's become more, maybe it's more of that because now when we go fishing, a lot of what I'm thinking about is, all right, like, what are we doing today? Like, what's the goal for today, right? And so you get kind of like, and then you also know like just getting set up, making sure you got batteries. Like, there's so much more prep that goes into the night before, and then you got to be thinking about trying to be efficient in the morning when you're getting all your crap ready. You're loading your boat, you're loading your kayak, you're loading your truck, whatever. And then when you finally get out there, you're used to getting that awesome feeling of like, zzz, and that's all you're thinking about. But then all of a sudden you're like, zzz, I missed. I need to cast more to the right. Right.
Well, what I did to help myself this year is I went and had my boat dealer install another nav port on my boat behind my passenger seat, so I can have the YOLOtech camera pull right there, plugged into power 24/7. I started doing that last year, but I found having it on the console windshield was not a good idea while casting.
Yeah.
I almost threw the GoPro into the water a couple of times. And, you know, it was not the time to go throw $400 in the water. I'm just saying.
Is there a good time for that?
You have a lot of money, you don't care, and there's nothing good on that camera for footage.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, that's when you want to do it.
No
But
doubt.
It's around 50,000 subs. You just start throwing it in the water. That's your next video.
Exactly. But the one thing over the winter, I scaled back all my tackle selection in my boat. I put it all up on a pegboard in my basement. I said, okay, if I will not use that in the first 3 months or the last 6 months of the year, it is off this board, going in a box, and I'm giving it away to my subscribers, my followers on Instagram. Somebody else is going to get use out of it, or it's just going to sit here and go bad. So I have, you know, those plastic shoe boxes? You get it like, they're like $2 or whatever with the lids on them. I got like 10 of those of just plastics that I'm giving, and I've given away 4 of those already this year. So if you follow any of my channels, when I do a giveaway, you are getting minimum $100 worth of stuff, period, out of my pocket.
Nice.
And I'll sometimes do a real giveaway, especially on YouTube. I'm going to do another real giveaway when I hit 10K. Nice. It will be better than an SLX this time.
No,
SLX DC.
Better than an SLX DC because I've already done the DC. I've done the SLX, I've done the DC, and I've done another SLX. This next one will be better than that. Or if they're local, I'll take them shopping.
Ooh.
See, that's the one right there.
But COVID might be screwing that up for me because that extra funds are not in my pocket right now.
COVID's screwing up for a lot of people, and they're trying to figure out when you're doing your giveaway.
So at JC Drop Shot, subscribe, watch every video, just push play on every playlist. Don't even look at the screen. Turn it to mute and just watch it, please. I need that YouTube money.
See? There you go.
Good shout out.
Strategy.
Subscribe,
right there.
like, and subscribe right now,
Yeah.
please.
Yep. Thumbs up on every video, even if you hate
it. I don't care if you don't like it. Don't thumbs down. Why would you thumbs down something? What's the point? You're not telling anybody anything.
Well, no, you are. The thumbs down actually tells, when the thumbs down comes in on the video, tells YouTube how people are perceiving the video. Yeah. So this is the funniest part. When you do a premiere of a video, and 2 hours before it goes live, you already have 3 thumbs downs.
Oh, no.
And it's a fishing report. How can you be mad at a fishing report you haven't seen yet?
It's not hard, man.
The worst part is I probably know who those 3 people are.
Yeah.
That's the worst part about it. But I feel sorry for those people that they're so fascinated with trying to make my life a problem that they feel the need to have negative energy at me. I feel sorry for them.
Haters, they're the strongest followers.
That was straight up a Gary V moment. I'm sorry. We need to have him here for that one. But it's true. I mean, I look at people that want a thumbs down a video before it even goes live is just they got to be so miserable in their own life to do that.
It takes a lot of effort.
To go seek somebody out.
Like, bro, post a new video so I can thumbs down.
JC's up. JC's up. Thumbs down.
Well, the screwed up part is it literally feels like that on certain videos at certain times of the year. And I know who it's coming from. That's the worst part about it. They don't think I know, but I know who they are. So
that's what I was wondering is that, there's just haters following you around that have to thumbs down those things, man. You're like, you're giving away stuff for free and they thumbs down a giveaway?
Yeah.
Bro, I want to give you things.
I want to give you a monster bass box, but you know what? I'm a lucky tackle box bro because I get a free box for them and I'm gonna go out and hate on everybody but them.
See, all right.
The best thing I can tell those young men that do that, we all know they're fairly young that are doing it. They think they're helping the company, but they're hurting themselves in the long run by doing those things.
Yeah.
This is a very small industry. I guarantee we know people that know us really well in between us, and it's not a very big degree of difference. Mm-hmm. Because the more you get in this business, the smaller it seems to get. Because everybody, like at the level I'm at now, there's people that know me. I have no idea who the hell they are. And they're pretty high up in companies, but they already know who I am. Mm-hmm. So you always have those handful of eyes on you, and you always got to be conscious of that, not do totally stupid stuff all the time.
I go around hating every other brand in a very small industry.
That's the greatest way to look
at it.
And
you know who else is garbage? No. Why? What is the point?
It is one thing to say, okay, this thing is trash. Here's why. And then here's how they can improve it.
There you go. Exactly.
You can totally trash something, but if you don't tell the company how to improve it, which is something that even back when I was writing in my vlog, I would get products to review from companies. One of these products was an Eagle Claw fishing line, biodegradable monofilament. This is a nice lesson here too, probably for somebody who might be listening. So this line never made it to market. I want to think that I helped not it ever come to market. Okay. They gave it to me to fish. It is the worst line I have ever used in my life. Literally, every problem you can think you can have with 10-year-old monofilament that's been sitting in a hot garage or a shed that's been soaked in water for a year of fishing, this is what this line did, minus the chalkiness.
Wow.
And I said, look, I'm not even going to put a review up for this. Here's what I had issues with. Here's how you can improve it. In its current place, I would not bring it to market. This is not a good idea. I emailed the guy. He goes, thank you for your feedback. You're the first one to write back to us saying that. I said, look, maybe I got a bad spool line. Send it to me again. He goes, no, I think we better look back at this product. We were talking for about a week, and then at that point, I think they got some more feedback and like, okay, yeah, maybe this is bad. I think what happened is they probably got my review. We need to go try this firsthand. And they're like, yeah, this is pretty much crap. I don't know. Ooh. I might be putting words in their mouth, but I like to think that I stopped a bad product from hitting the market.
There you go.
Well, and that's just when you're first starting out, you're kind of having some success, like that's not the time to go nuts. And that's the same thing if like any career that you're in, right? Like literally anywhere. Like if you're that person that's like creating negativity, and it's not that you can't thumbs down something, to your point, right? Like doing it in a way that's like not constructive, like you are labeling yourself at that point, and that's where you're going to struggle because you are just creating negativity.
Well, if you go back and look at my mystery tackle box reviews, people missed that I said I was going to do a 3-part series. I probably did a really terrible job explaining it in the first video. And I said I was going to give my full opinion after 3 months of it. Now, Mystery is a very good box for what it is, but it doesn't suit me at my level of anglership because I want full packs. I don't want Chinese stuff that I know exactly what factory it came from because of my past job history. It's like really frustrating when you know they're fake brands or just, hey, would slap a logo on it and to get it from China for $1.20 a piece.
I literally said the same thing.
It bugs me. But I will give Mystery credit. At least their version of that stuff's generally better than other said boxes out there. And I've had conversations with certain people that have wanted to bring products. I'm like, dude, I already know this product. It's been around. So-and-so used to sell it. It flopped. Why are you going to bring an old worn out mold to market? So and the mystery tackle boxes were good. That was right when the Guggenheim stuff was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And that Justin Rackley said, we're going to have this in a box, which never happens, where they say it's going to be in this month's box or that month's box, tell you exactly what it is. And now they're doing that a little more than what they used to with the Guggen stuff mainly. Oh, you're going to have some Guggen's plastic. Oh, you're going to have a new crank or hard bait in there, which all that stuff looks good, by the way. So I'm not hating on the Guggen's by any shape of the imagination. But it just was a little disappointing getting China off the shelf stuff in a box. Wasn't bad, but it was. Don't tell me.
Great.
Don't tell me it cost $9.
$9.
Oh yeah,
but it costs you $1.20 to get it here. Even with distribution and markup, it's $5.99 at best.
I would get. So I was an actual genuine mystery tackle box subscriber for a period of time, and I remember at the time it was 75% awesome. I'm on this podcast saying this exact same thing. It was 75% awesome. You get some stuff you never saw before, which I thought was really cool.
Yep.
You would get some super high quality stuff. You would get hooks and you'd be like, I needed these. This is useful also. Yep. But then you get, like, to your point, a crankbait that's worth 12 cents, and you can tell the second you open the box, you're like, if I was a fish, I wouldn't even eat this. Like, what?
Yep. Now I will say this: in a Mr. Tackle box, I got probably the coolest lure I have ever purchased for myself. Freddy the Frog from Weston. Dude, that thing, I've never fished it. I'm gonna try to make a point to fish it this year because it's just what is it, like 12, 13 inches long, big old bullfrog, and a northern pike, a muskie, and a smallmouth. Well, not maybe a largemouth, maybe not smallmouth. There is one in a lake that'll eat that damn thing.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, Danny
the
duck, dude.
I want to catch
Danny the duck.
Oh yeah, and the duck. Okay, so
I've got like 3 of them though.
That thing sells so well still in the state of Michigan.
Oh yeah.
But I have never found anybody that's caught a ton of fish on it.
A ton of fish,
but
catches have been made.
Yes, it catches fish. The Whopper Plopper catches more fish than the duck.
Whopper Flopper is a tool.
He's not a fan. He's not a fan of the Whopper Plopper, is he?
Yes, I am.
No,
we became fans last year. I will say this.
It's new.
Here's what happened. Like last year, we hit a lake, and Paul goes, "Let's fish the Whopper Plopper," because we had just picked up like the first ones, and I go, "I've never fished one before." First cast, bass.
90 or 110.
It's the small one.
The 75, the new one, the little fat squatty one.
They were 90s.
90s, okay.
They were 90s.
Because the 110 and the 130 out catches the 90. Believe it or not, the 130 is actually really good. I just don't fish at Michigan because we have too many toothy critters. Down south, you definitely would fish it more. But the 110 is that nice sweet spot for largemouth. Yeah. The 90 is great if you're in a kayak and you only have 4 rods. You don't have that 8 or 10 rod. You know what? I'm gonna get that other topwater rod out that I use every once in a while, or I'm gonna get that other medium heavy rod that I leave for the spare and throw a plopper on. But I'm not gonna change my horny toad or my scum frog off. It's a little, but it's a good bait. It's still one of the best selling. I can't believe the suicide duck still sells like it does.
No.
I don't know if it's like parents, oh, look, it's a cute little duck. They're buying for their kids.
Yeah, it's the novelty bait.
It probably was on sale, and someone's like, why not?
There was a novelty bait when I worked for Cabela's as a teenager called the Blackbird. And you can Google it, and you'll find it. It was a legit little tiny bird topwater. Does he have one? If he has
No,
one,
I was gonna grab another novelty.
Okay,
Hang
so
on,
this
hang on.
thing is. This looks like those Christmas
There's
ornaments.
two
when you're a
ducks,
kid?
by the way.
There you go, the Savage Gear hollow ducks. So you remember those Christmas ornaments that your grandmother had? They were birds. Okay.
Yes.
You know how awful those looked? Okay, make those things look awesome, and that's what these things look like. Red-winged blackbirds and robin. It was freaking sweet looking, and we sold them in 4-packs and single packs at Cabela's one Christmas. We put them at end cap, and we were selling the crap out of them, and then they were gone. I'm like, what the heck? And they're still, you can still find them online. That company's still around. I forget the name of the company. It was a red-winged blackbird topwater. Has real feathers, like for the wings.
What?
Yeah, it
That's
was
so
legit,
awesome.
like freaking awesome. It's a hard, like wood carved body.
Shut
It
up.
reminds me of the stuff back in the 40s and 50s that people were making. It legit is that style. It's awesome looking. I would buy it just to own it and put it on the shelf with my crazy Rapala collectors that you have to buy through China because there's no other place you can get them. And they are legit Rapalas, but you can only buy them through the Chinese market.
Because that's all that's left.
They got this poison dart frog fat rat body with props. They're so. You want to see it?
That's gnarly.
I got it right up there.
I think it was.
Let's share some baits.
That was in a relatively recent. I want to say Field and Stream magazine.
But you've seen like the Savage Gear bat too, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
3D bat.
Oh dude, you got the box?
Limited edition.
Limited edition. It is a straight up. It is a Rapala bait. It's designed by Finland, assembled in Estonia, which is where a lot of their stuff is made now. But it has to come through the Chinese or the Germany market to get this bad boy. Mine came out of the Chinese.
Dang.
Dude.
What?
This will never see the water.
Never.
Never see the water.
Never.
But yeah, it's legit, man. It is a legit
Dang.
Rapala collector. It is. This was, I think, one of 1,500 that they did in this color. There's a whole entire poison dart series of like 5 colors. They're sweet. That's the blue. I got the red.
It's gotta be
the
a purple
one. No, there was a black
that's
and yellow
cool.
one, and that's it.
That's
So, and then
awesome.
this is actually a Rapala bait.
Oh, the weedless. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a Super
that.
Johnson minnow with a tail.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's a lipless.
Yeah, what the hell? Oh,
That's crazy.
What?
It's a
A lipless with a weedless.
It's 3/4 of an ounce. It is a Rapala bait. This took me 6 months to get from Europe.
Wow.
Took me forever to get it. The order failed 3 times before I finally got it to go.
Wow.
It was a nightmare to get the money back too. It was an absolute nightmare. I believe it's called the weedless shad. I don't have the patch anymore because I planned on fishing these. And I yelled at the Rapala rep, when are you going to bring these to the States? Because there's guys that would fish these. These are cool.
Right.
There's no rattle. I mean, it's just solid.
It looks heavy duty, yeah.
It's solid lead, man. It's a cool bait. I forgot that was up there next to it. I'm like, I gotta show them this one. So yeah, I got weird
That's
like
legit.
collections of oddball stuff because of my job. So
Sweet.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
All right, we just hit probably an hour 20.
that's it. Oh, I got another hour and a half of me. Let's go.
That's what
Let's
I'm saying.
go.
Just record 3 right now.
Oh, so real quick on the MTB this month. This is the
Legit.
motorboat.
I wanted that for the monster bass box, and I asked Rick for it.
Really?
Yes.
So that's the 13 fishing motorboat, and it's got a little buzzbait spinner.
Exactly, and
On
it's
the
got
back.
a Dacron line going through it to the
Right.
hook. That material is Elastec E type material. It's a very high. It's a newer plastisaw
Hmm.
that is legal to use. It's not true Elastec, but it's got a little more give for that to work and be what they want to ask for. It has to be a little more durable. It's a really cool bait. It will definitely catch fish. I know for a fact because I've already caught fish on it.
Oh,
Last
yes. I can't wait, dude.
I had my hands on it last fall. The
That's
rep
awesome.
gave me some to show my customers, and I went fishing with it one day and caught a fish and then put it back in the box.
Yes.
It
Done
is
deal,
awesome. It is awesome. So I'm looking. I saw that. And I'm like, did Rick get that in the box and didn't tell me? And I'm like, oh, it's in a mystery. Dang it.
Yeah, they snagged it.
Yeah, I will say this month's mystery box is pretty good. Other than the sample packs, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean it was
Pretty solid.
three Guggen baits. You had like the the juicy jig. We
The
had
juicy jigs are nice. I'll give them credit.
yeah.
They did a good job on their jigs. They look nice. I like the way they labeled the size. Granted, it is painted on,
nice.
so you'd pitch around enough docks with metal poles that paint will not be there anymore. But it's a solid jig. It is hand tied, if I remember right, as well. So it's a solid jig. And hand tied jigs are hard to come by that are good quality. So, but in the May box, we have a hand tied jig coming in a monster bass box. I designed the color for the box.
Ooh. Solid plug.
So I might have some pictures. So literally COVID ruined this video. I was going to do one day on St. Clair and then the next day go on to an inland lake and go fish the swim jig. And lo and behold, she shuts it down that night.
Oh.
And I finally got the water temps finally got warm enough to get that bite going for me.
Just over 50?
No. Well, where that fish was, yeah. It was just in the 50s. So this is going to look really terrible, but see if I can get the show up.
Oh, I see it.
Okay.
So that's from Super K Jigs.
Okay.
So this is a little bit better picture. But I legit let the boat slide back in the Phragmites.
Yeah. I got you. I've seen that pic.
I caught 15 fish from that exact spot in a foot and a half of water, throwing it 20 feet.
Whoa.
So this is what's weird. Like these fish were working the reed edges, right? Mm-hmm. And I would catch a few fish, they'd see the boat and they would just scatter. I'd sit down, send a text message. I was texting my buddy, hey, I'm up in the flats, they're on. Do you think your other spot you told me about is on? Because he told me about a spot where some big fish stack up early in the year, which now we can't go to unless the weather turns nice when we can go back out. To go out and I wanted to go get some 4 and 5 pound fish on that jig. Make the video look better. Instead of 1.5 pounders. Let's face it, the box is monster bass.
They kind of pigeonholed you into getting beat.
You gotta only catch big fish on the store, right? So I'm trying really hard, but hey, I'm having fun catching 1 pounders. Yep. So I would sit down, send a text message, or I get a phone call because I'm still working at this time, taking customer calls while I'm on the boat. You hear freaking the more hens going off in the background. It's like loud. I mean, there's one like maybe 5 feet from the boat, just going nuts. I'm on a call with a customer. He goes, "What is that, a bird? Where you at?" "Outside." "Somewhere." "You're fishing, aren't you?" "Yeah."
You got me.
You're welcome. It's called research.
Exactly. I'm researching something. But so I would sit down. I stand back up. I caught 3 or 4 or 5 more fish. They stop biting. I sit back down, and I just kept doing this cycle, but never moved the boat. Sit down for 10 minutes, stand up for 10 minutes. Sit down for 10 minutes, stand up for 7 seconds, or 10 minutes. It was hilarious. I'm like, this is so weird. This is how it's working, but okay, I'll take it. But that jig is designed to look like a calico craw, which is one of the 9 species we have in Michigan, but it's the most prevalent species in Michigan. And just so happens you put a white swim bait underneath it, and it looks really close to a perch as well. Just dumb luck that it ended up being a really nice perch pattern as well. Yeah. So it's going to be a really versatile swim jig for guys, especially here in the Great Lakes, Wisconsin, Minnesota, where we have a lot of craws, mainly calicos, and perch on our smallmouth waters and our largemouth waters. So I'm really excited. I know Rick wanted it to be a 3/8 ounce. I said, no. I want 3/16. Well, they don't make a 3/16. Well, give me the lightest one they got then. Yep. So it ended up being a quarter. So, and I was definitely very picky about the head color. The head color is special. It's not your everyday head color that you see on a jig. Yeah. So hopefully you guys like it.
That's awesome, man.
That picture I showed you, that was a Angler's Choice Sniper Shad MG Special. On the back of that, 3.5-inch sniper shad, the old version, not the new version that's coming hopefully soon. which might give the Kitech a run for its money finally. Somebody that didn't just copy it and try to take it over, actually put some effort behind designing something for a purpose instead of just copying.
Just
trying. I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but there's plenty of off of the Kitechs that don't even get why the Kitechs work. So
if you name the names, we'll bleep them out, but I'll know them.
Wait, I have to edit this, man.
Shut up. You want me to get going? I can name 20 off the top of my head. You want me to start now?
Yeah, just stop.
And we'll cut to when you're done naming names, and we're done. Did you hear all those names? That was insane.
I lagged them. I said, sorry, I'm not going to say it again. No, I'm done. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that jig, and I'm not sure what else Rick is putting in the box. I know he's been sending me a lot of text messages and going, hey, in this bait at this month, what colors would you want? Like, what's your best color? I was like, how about I give you my top 6? Because I know what's happening this year in the industry. If you ask for one color, you might not get enough to fill all of our boxes that are coming out. So here's 6. Here's what I throw during this time of the year. You get an assortment of that. You're going to keep everybody happy for the most part. Oh, but yeah. I fish so much clean water where somebody in Wisconsin's fishing dirty water. It may not work for them.
Yes. Because
I'm fishing clean water. I mean, St. Clair, up north, Michigan, there's not many dirty lakes up there. They're all pretty clean.
Absolutely. Yep.
So,
well, and that's part of why people like companies like Monster Bass are looking for people who actually know what's going on, right? You want people who are getting days on the water, people who are obsessive about their baits and understanding why they work, right? That's the goal, and that's how you get a quality box. That's not to downplay any other boxes, but like that's the differentiation point, right? That's why you pay. You're giving up part of your paycheck for that, right?
And that's why I decided to work with Monster Bass, is because they're doing that regional stuff.
100%.
I was offered the opportunity to do something with Mystery, and I didn't want to. So I will say this: if you've never used it, you must use it.
Oh, yes.
This is only for those that are watching this, not listening to this, though. We're not going to say what this is, but if you know what this is, leave a comment down below.
There it is.
Okay, I will tell you the number 1 color in my boat, and that's chartreuse gill. And that's your only hint of what this bait is.
100%.
So this was sent to me from Swinside, who's their R&D guy at this company. Nice. So there's another hint of who it is, but this is the new I-Class stuff. So super excited for that. What other fun stuff do I got on my desk? You guys got any other questions for me? I got fun stuff all over because I work in this room too. Oh, I got some new Yum Ned stuff.
Ooh, show me.
Jeff is immediately enticed.
What did you say? What's that?
I'm going to show you the 2 things I was not excited about first.
Okay.
And if you lived in the Great Lakes your whole life, you'll know why I'm not super excited about this. That's their Ned minnow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yep. It'll catch fish. Okay.
For sure.
I will give them credit. They have a little lip on each side of the tail that go against each other, so it might be a little bit of rotation or a little, like cool little flapping action.
I was gonna ask you what's up with the tail.
I'll give them that. It's probably gonna have a crap ton of action out of the tail.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have gave me that tail in a straight worm body, but you gave me a body that I grew up with in that Big Lot Special soft plastic box looking thing. Now the next one's pretty obvious. So this is a crawfish pattern. Yum is covered in oil. I'm sure we're gonna have some of this in one of the boxes soon too. But the little Ned crawl. This will catch the crap out of rock bass. Just north of you guys on that big clear lake by that one town that has a phenomenal brewery and pizza downtown. It's got one boat launch on the southeast corner. There's a big hill going into town that might have been on the History Channel for some show recently where they're trying to find Civil War gold. Go up and catch
it on my TV shows, man.
But this next one is actually, when I seen it in the catalog, I'm like, oh, great, another freaking Senko piece for that. But here's the deal. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, oh, great, really? But then I got it in my hand because the rep, God bless him, did a terrible job in our sales meeting explaining this thing. Like, didn't even talk about it really. Oh, here's our new Ned baits. So gave us a sheet of paper with pictures and said, here's the colors. I'm like, yay, move on. It was like there's nothing special. Well, Lo and behold, when I got my samples, this has got something special on it. The end of it is hollow.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that body, that's hollow. So that's going to trap an air bubble in there. Or if you don't care about it, the tail flipping up, because this is in the water. This does this instead of this. It's a totally different look. So it looks more like a crawfish pincher is just coming up instead of the whole thing rising.
Right.
Which is really not what you do. Just crawfish, their claws go up and the body stays down.
Yep.
Right.
So I think this has some potential, and being it's yum, it's cheap.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. That's a sweet idea though, because that's kind of what, you know, when you look at what obviously Ned is kind of how it's like unique and that whole the setup that they're kind of expecting you to do when you buy the whole package, right? Like that's the deal.
Yep.
That's the sitting in the water that way, right?
I will give the Guggen Squad guys props. Their Ned worm is freaking awesome. If you haven't fished it, try it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want that same effect, take the rattle out of the back of it.
Oh yeah. 100%.
It does the same thing. It's a little smaller hole, so that air stays in there, and it will float that back in crazy high.
Nice.
But you take the Guggen Squad Ned worm on a drop shot, money. Their morning dawn is so good on northern Michigan smallmouth. It's insane on a drop shot.
That's awesome.
That morning dawn caught me so many fish last year that I couldn't even share because of the lake I was on and what was in the background.
Yep. I'm not the only one, Jeff.
The person that told me to go
allegedly.
there and check it out, well, the person told me to go check this lake out, right? And I said, hey, I caught some good fish at so-and-so. He goes, did you have your camera on? I'm like, yeah. He goes, before you post that, could I view it really quick? I'm like, why? He goes, I don't want you to share it if there's something in the background. I'm like, oh, crap.
Yep.
No.
I'm not. So I do a lot more, just as much hunting as I do fishing. So I'm more sensitive, I feel like, about giving away my spots because you work hard for your spots. I do all my work on public. Yeah. And so I don't necessarily want to just be like giving my stuff away. So Jeff and I were doing like our first or second podcast, and Jeff's like, we were on blah 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 lake, and I'm like, oh, what? Why would you just say that? And it was one of the best days that we've ever had too.
Well, I mean, there's a lake I went to. I'm sure you guys caught it because you mentioned the video, the whole video series of me up north. So you've seen that episode.
Yep.
Those fish were all 4-pounders. And I thought I did not show enough, unless you know the lake crazy good, you had no idea what it was. Okay. Yes. I had 3 people in the comments go, is it this lake? And I deleted it and sent them a message. I said, dude, yes, but I deleted it because I don't want to blow it up.
For sure.
He goes, no, I get it. He's like, I didn't even think about that. Put in the comments. I'm like, dude, like,
what were you thinking?
2,000 people just seen that, dude.
Exactly, man.
And 2,000 people turns into 20,000 people, and you're in northern Michigan, and they already know you're in the Traverse City area.
It's over.
You can
look at a lunch.
You can find it in a week.
if you're a guy who goes, and I prefer, especially being a kayak fisherman, I prefer getting on smaller water just because it's better. Yep. It's just better for me, right? Not that I won't go on big water, but I prefer smaller water. So especially Jeff and I, that's what we do is go look for the medium-sized lake, right?
Puddles.
And that's why I picked my boat. I wanted something light on a single axle that I could dump in those gravel launches.
Yes.
But I will tell you what, that lake, getting that boat on and off the trailer had me a little worried.
That's what you said in the video.
So the GoPro does a terrible job of showing speed and how violent that hit was onto the trailer. Okay. I was going probably 10 miles an hour when I hit that trailer.
Shut up.
To get it back on. And
wow.
Off, I had that thing in full-on reverse, lifting the boat off the trailer to get it to go. Oh, and I was standing on the front of the boat with the motor in gear, cranking, and I'm bouncing the front to try to get because the way the Ranger sits on the trailer, the nose comes down so it's level. So you have this hump to go over. Yeah. And I had to get X amount over, and it was just like trying to teeter the boat and go. And I watched this guy just before me put a boat, like one of those bow rider bay liners, like 18-footers, in on a roller trailer, and he literally shoved it off the trailer. And I'm like, What am I getting myself into? Because
Here we go.
I sit weird on. I mean, it's low, but it's really not low because of how the bunks are set up.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh boy. So I put going in. If I would have took my time going in, I probably would have been better off. But I put the boat right off the last parking block and just sunk the trailer right on the concrete. And I still had to do that.
Dude.
So
What?
yeah. So
But that's
getting it back on wasn't as bad because I put the wheels right on that last concrete, centered it. I took my time getting the trailer just right.
Yeah.
And I literally waded in the water, grabbed my boat because it came unhooked from the beach that I beached it on, and it was so cattails. I'm like, I'll just walk through the mud and go get it.
And you don't have spot lock.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm walking through the mud and the deer flies to go get the freaking boat, whatever. So I hop back in it. I just swing out, and I'm like, there's no one else. And it's like, screw this. I'm full send and power loading this thing. It's the only way of getting it back on. Full send. And I'm like, I hope I hit this right, or it's going in the back of my truck, and this is the end of my trip.
And we're gonna have to do it. We're gonna have to do another episode because we are in general kayak guys. I've owned a boat. I do not own a boat now. I will probably own a boat later, but
Same.
I'm a kayak right now specialist, and we need to do a boats versus kayak episode because I try, and Jeff loves to talk trash about boats just in general.
What?
But I will tell
here.
you this: my boat can get places most kayaks can go.
Yeah,
that's legit.
But it's not necessarily the best thing for the boat.
when there's that much money
there it is.
putting out water, you're like, ooh, maybe it's not as.
Yes, it's a tin boat, but it is a pretty tin boat.
It does look it. It is beautiful.
We talked about this. We had a boat episode. And we talked about it.
If you ever see it in person, it's pretty scratched up. It's pretty scratched up.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, first of all, Paul dragged his kayak on one of my videos, and people lost their shit.
Was that the one where you had your wheels, he had his rope dragging it across the parking lot?
Yep.
That's the best way if you're going to drag it to drag it. You drag it in the
back.
If you're going to drag it, that's the best way to drag it. It really is. I've owned enough plastic boats to know that. I made the mistake on a 16-foot flatback canoe that I used for duck hunting, Old Town, dragged it down one dike, got to the foam core. Never again did I drag it like that.
Yeah, and it's not like I do that normally. I don't have to. I just roll my truck up and drop it in the water, never touches anything. But if you're alone, remember that time it's got to be 500 yards, right, across that grass to get to that giant hill, down to the sandbar to launch into that private lake.
Sounds so familiar right now.
Yeah, and so
I've done that.
Yeah, and I'm like, without that rope, there's no way I'm doing that by myself.
Yep.
No, there was no ramp.
There's no way.
There was no ramp. It was like private access for this park.
Private access for a park.
So when you have a park access only, you're gonna have to drag it. And in this case, you dragged it on gravel, and people they were mad. They were mad at you. It was hilarious. But yeah,
it's
like
a
we
plastic
did.
boat. Get over it.
No, 100%. And it's an Old Town. To be fair, like it's got a pretty thick hull. Like it's gonna be fine. And you've been doing that for 3 years, I think.
I am gonna do. You mentioned duck hunting. I'm gonna do a duck blind mod for that boat for this year.
Is yours a sit on top, right?
Sit on top, Predator
like
MX 12 foot.
A true sit on top, right? Not that
inches
hybrid one that they had a few years back. Okay.
Well, it's an MX, but it is 100% a sit on top, adjustable seat up and down.
It's the Predator style.
Yep.
Take out your seat.
Mm-hmm.
I already got this all figured out for you, dude. I am a duck hunter. I got this whole thing figured out for you. Okay. I shot divers out of my Old Town canoe on Lake Erie, so I got you down on this.
I believe this.
Okay, so take out that seat, that bar that's back there.
Yep.
That is now your headrest.
Oh, then you're actually in a layout at that point.
You're in a layout boat.
So I was actually, yeah.
You can go the cheap way with just fabric covering you up, have gloves on, have the gun sitting there and lay down, and just pop up and shoot, or you can get really fancy and build some PVC pipes.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was gonna do
that if you want.
Two phases. Phase one, I'm gonna do shot cord, little Z's, like just little like X's, all the way around it, because then I can take big straps of, I'm gonna make like big like clustered straps of like the cheap Allen fabric, the burlap.
You can do burlap, but get some raffia.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do both, and then
Yeah.
I can use natural, and I can just shove it all in there when I get where I'm going, so that I'm matching where I'm at.
The reason I say raffia more than anything else, it stays light even when it's wet. Burlap will not. So if you get that 3D camo blanket that they sell, it's like
that's what I have.
Looks like that stuff you put in your underneath your mulch.
Or a deer blind.
Yeah. It's like that stuff. Use that stuff. Burlap will get too heavy. It'll get soaked with water. And in November, you do not want extra weight that doesn't float itself.
That's frozen.
It gets frozen. It's miserable.
That's flat too.
It adds weight to the boat because the ice builds up really quick on it then. So I'm speaking from true experience of almost dying. Don't do it.
Noted. Warmest regards.
Yes.
R.I.P.
That's a story for a different time where I almost died in Lake Erie in a duck boat.
But like, dude, if you're going for divers, like you're in rollers, that's going to be dangerous territory no matter what.
Yeah, I used to hunt the borderlands, as I called it. It was just outside the marsh, but not where the layout tender rigs will hunt. It's that in-betweener. And I actually came up with a boat design. I have a CAD drawing, 3D modeling inside. I've yet to build this boat. I can make it out of stitch and glue plywood.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. It's got pods on the back. You have a manual kicker motor mount that you can lift, and then when you're hunting, you drop it down. But you need to have an air-cooled motor, not a water-cooled, because you're going to end up dropping that in so low that the intake and muffler will get frozen up, and you can do some serious damage to a water-cooled motor.
For sure.
So that Coleman 5-horse, if you can find them, that Cabela's used to sell, Briggs & Stratton motor, loud as a son of a bitch, but the best choice for that.
Dude, that's a good idea. Because those boats, there's a company, I can't remember where they're in, but I'm pretty sure they're in Michigan, and they do tours on Erie, and they do guides on Erie, and they make those like super low,
those
like one-man pod. Yeah, the little layout boats where you get dropped off.
Yeah, those you have to have a tender boat to take you there. The boat design I have is your tender and your layout all in one.
Yep.
And it is kind of modeled after a poke boat. If you go back in waterfall history where they actually drifted and oared into big rafts, it's like that, but I use a motor. And it's not made to go more than a half mile offshore.
And you're not taking that many decoys, right?
I got it rigged up where it's a 12-foot boat. I have a 12-foot version, a 14-foot version, and I can take 4 dozen decoys.
14,
mags.
That's long, man. That's
mags.
Long.
4 dozen mags.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
But this boat is only like this wide,
Yeah.
Just outside my shoulders. So it has to be long to carry the load.
Oh, I'm into that.
And I designed it light enough that I could still haul it over the dikes at Shiawassee or what's the one in the Grand River, the farms.
Wait, in Grand River?
Yeah, there's a reserve off the Grand River by Lansing. Something Farms. Oh, I can't remember the name of it.
I can't either.
Yeah. But where you guys are on the west side, so you guys got old squaw hunting off the Pureheads.
Oh, Jeff is.
I'm on the west side.
I'm on the.
Falls in the middle.
Well, you just go to Lake Huron and go do the same thing.
There you
go shoot yourself some old squaws.
There you go.
Dude, I am pumped up to get that done. That's a super good idea because that seat actually comes out super easy.
Yep.
And I can make a headrest way easy, and that actually would make. And
if you do it right and you don't have the foam pads in, it should lock into the grooves.
Well,
if you do it right.
What I'm thinking is I might even start
into
some research.
Holes or into scupper holes, depending on how you do it.
Mm.
And the angle you get, you might be perfect. I haven't done it. I just looked at it and go, I could probably do something with it.
Oh, I can. That's my jam, dude.
It's gonna happen now.
I'm gonna rig that up now. So yeah,
we're revved up the mad scientist.
Now you're gonna have to do it proper and paint that pretty boat.
Mine's camo right now.
No, it's not. You need to paint that flat matte. You need to go on full on redneck, rattle can your truck, rattle can the kayak, do it.
Tell me I won't.
Because here's the thing: if you do it right, it just peels off by spring, anyways.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're
Do it
trying,
just enough to hold on, and
if you're trying.
yeah, if you really want to stay on, though, you could, but you can do it just well enough that it holds up through, the end of the season. Yeah, just power wash it off with a power washer, and it all flakes right off, and no one will ever know.
Freaking love it, man. All right, dude. Do you wanna plug the channel? Can we let you do your official plug?
Yeah. JC Dropshot at JC Dropshot. Instagram, Facebook. I don't have Snapchat. No, I don't. Twitter, YouTube. Yeah. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
The gamut.
All the places.
Yep. And as always, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you find value in the bullshit we talked about tonight, give them a thumbs up as well, or a 5-star rating on the podcast or whatever it is. I'm getting there. So I'm gonna eventually
do a podcast. You're gonna do a podcast?
Yeah, that's what the off the dock thing was supposed to be, and then I found out it costs money to host, and then I got to figure out whole new technology again. I'm like, another thing I got to learn.
Hard pass 2021.
We'll talk. It's not too crazy, I promise.
It's language I don't know anymore. RSS feeds and all that stuff. Like, I forgot all that stuff back in my blogging days. I knew it. Now I know nothing about it.
We got you. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Burly Fishing Podcast. If you guys like the content, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and drop a comment if you will. You can follow us at Burly Fishing, Facebook and Instagram, and on YouTube, Burly Fishing. Check out the giveaway we're doing right now, good through April 30th. You can find that on YouTube or any of the other channels. And follow JC Dropshot right now. We'll see you guys later.